Good morning, Liz.
Morning, Scotty.
It is Liz and Scotty's Poddy with Liz and Scotty from today's Best Country, Clear 99, and this is one of those odd ones. You never know what you're going to get with a Liz and Scotty's Poddy. Sometimes it's an interview. Sometimes it's something else. This is one we just want to talk about Ozark. We have finally finished it. It's one of those shows where we want to talk about it. We can't talk about it on the radio because we don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
But we did want to talk about it. I finished it. I think I got in the last 4 or 5. I wasn't planning on it, and I got in and couldn't stop watching. And you finished it last week too. So, just I don't know where to dive in, but we'll just dive in with your overall thoughts on the way the show Ozark ended, Liz.
Okay, initially I was very disappointed with how it ended. I watched it and I was like, really, that's it? After further conversations with other coworkers and stuff, I'm like, okay, now I understand a little bit more about why it ended the way it did, but I'm still sad that it's overall done.
Okay. I am sort of on the other side of that. I'm glad it's done.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it very much, but it was enough. About 2 or 3 episodes from the end, I was just like, it's too much for my heart. It's too dark. I'm ready to get off of this and find a new show to start watching. All at the same time, still enjoying it very much. And if you haven't figured it out, there are going to be spoilers here. So if you don't want Ozark spoilers, go find a different podcast. As far as the way it ended and Ruth being killed, what'd you think of that?
I didn't like it.
Didn't?
No,
Okay.
I was a big Ruth fan.
Yeah, me
and I
too.
wanted her to survive it all.
Yeah. But somebody had to die, right?
Yeah, and I was more than willing to give up a bird for Ruth.
Really?
Yes.
Just any bird, or?
I would have felt cheated if it were one of the kids, but yeah, Wendy or Marty, they could have gone.
Really?
I would have sacrificed them.
You would have rather lost Marty than lose
Yes.
Ruth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, her I can understand, but not Marty. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Marty definitely, don't get me wrong, had his great qualities, but I think Ruth was just so beloved by so many of us that we were all rooting for her.
Well, and jump to the end of my notes. There has been talk, and nothing serious at this point. It's just the showrunner or whoever, somebody in an interview, when somebody brought up spinoff, and he said, yeah, obviously there's been discussions. Anytime you got a show that successful,
Yeah.
somebody wants to keep the money coming in, so they're going to, try to do a spinoff. But where do you go with a spinoff? Because the number one most popular choice would have been Ruth Langmore.
Yeah.
And you can't do that now. So,
I don't know. I'm just like, let sleeping dogs lie at this point.
yeah.
I think they wrapped it up perfectly.
You wouldn't want to dive back into the Langmore story a little bit?
Oh, well,
I don't
now
think
you
that I would, but
mention
I'm just asking the question. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that would be the only other way that I could see it going, I guess. That would be good, like a backstory, a little bit more of Darlene and her first husband, Jacob.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Okay. Back to the kids for just a minute.
Okay.
In the very, very last scene of the show, although the screen went dark, it is assumed that the boy pulled the trigger to kill that Chicago PI.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Because I didn't buy it at first. My first thought was, no, he wouldn't have pulled the trigger. But you pointed out to me he has pulled the trigger before.
Yeah, he's shot it before.
Yeah.
I bought it, I would say, but it just felt like oddly placed. Like the big grand finale was definitely Ruth dying.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe they should have placed that before her death.
Yeah.
Because when Wendy and Marty come home and they are just kind of sitting there taking everything in, I thought that was going to be a good ending. And just the camera pans out and you see them oh man, kind of thing.
How long did it take you to notice that the glass on the patio door was broken?
Oh, I noticed it fairly quickly. I was
Okay.
like, crap, now what's going to happen? Right. We're not over just yet.
Right. Okay, and speaking of people getting shot, let's go back to Ruth for a minute.
Okay.
Did you, at any point during that scene where Ruth is there with Omar's wife, Did you think at some point that Ruth might get out of that?
Oh, 1,000%. I looked at all of the options, and I think it's Omar's sister, but yes.
Sister, what did I say?
Wife.
I said wife. Yeah, sister. I'm sorry.
I was like, okay, Rachel's going to come out of the bushes, and she's going to have the shotgun again, and she's going to shoot her or 3, the younger nephew.
I thought about 3 for a minute.
Yeah.
He was back this season, but I mean, nothing pivotal.
Right. And then I was like, oh, maybe like they'll respect that they're 2 really like hardcore women and they'll get together.
That's
or something.
what I thought. I thought she might just all of a sudden go, you know what, you're all right. I want you in my organization.
Yeah. Or Ruth was going to pull the gun on her.
Right.
It was very dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah. And back to the kids for just a minute. Jonah and Charlotte. I was worried at some point, I don't remember if it was this season or another season, and this is just a me personally type thing. I do not get all excited about kids' storylines in shows. Back when I used to watch The Sopranos, and I came to The Sopranos very, very late. I did not watch it when it was on. It was years later. I was on DVDs or on A&E or something. And I was always glad when it was a DVD or if I was streaming it or something, because when the kid's story came up, I could fast forward to it. I just didn't care.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I mean, many times they had something to do with the plot. I get why they're there and why they need storylines. But for me personally, and there were a couple of times earlier in the season or earlier in the show when I thought, yeah, I don't care. Let's go to the next one. Uh-huh. But I thought they did a real nice job kind of integrating them without them becoming annoying, just to me personally, just not annoying. I thought those were 2 pretty good characters.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think they could kind of like stand by themselves, but then again, they didn't harp on their storylines as much as they could have.
Right. There was a time where I thought maybe the show would end with just the kids.
That's what I thought.
There was some point where I don't know, maybe when they were in that mausoleum and they were talking about going off somewhere.
Yeah.
And I thought, and by that time, we had already seen the premonition or the preview of the car wreck.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, Marty and her, what's her
Wendy.
name? Marty and Wendy die in the car wreck. Charlotte and Jonah get the money and go to Seattle or wherever it was they were talking about.
And there's your good spinoff. And then they just take over for their dad because Jonah can like do all the money laundering stuff.
Right.
I think that would have been a better ending.
All right. So let's get to the car wreck.
Okay. I knew that was going to come.
What was your thoughts on the car wreck?
I thought the car wreck was so dumb. I was so upset. Like that honestly was the one thing in this entire like season that really upset me because we saw it in the very beginning. It was such a foreshadowing. Like, oh man, definitely not all 4 of them are going to make it out. Like that was an intense car wreck. And then we get to it. And they all come out of the car within like 30 seconds with no major bumps or bruises. Yes, Wendy is unconscious for 10 of those seconds.
Yeah.
But I'm like, come on.
It's like the only reason it was in there was so that they could have something cool to put in the previews to keep you hanging on till the end. It's like that was its only device.
Or for that line from Wendy, no, that was a true testament as to we're going to make it out okay.
When she's talking to the priest later.
Yeah. So honestly, if the car scene had to be in there, I really wish they wouldn't have foreshadowed it or, like you said, put it in the commercials as much as they did because it was not as pivotal as we all thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Can you imagine that car wreck if you didn't know it was coming?
Yeah, it would have been so intense.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So intense.
Yeah. I also thought for just a minute, they might have filmed that thinking that they were going to go a different direction. And for some reason, maybe they were planning on killing somebody off or killing them all off or something. And then they end up changing their minds and not doing it. But then why include it at all? Because as you said, there was nothing before that or after that was of any kind of vital importance.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Another one I thought of was the whole dad storyline, Wendy's dad, Richard Thomas, who the more I watched him, the more I kind of liked him or thought at least he was doing the character well. But the last couple of episodes, I was watching that and I'm like, that's one too many storylines for me. Were you in that? Okay.
1,000%. If you were like that with The Sopranos and the kids, that was my character
Okay.
for that. Like, I if I could, I probably would have just fast forwarded through all of his stuff because I'm like, just get to the main, like the juiciness of this show, the thing that we always come here for, because we all know that Wendy's brother is dead.
Right.
Like, quit stringing this poor man along,
Yeah.
to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. And I guess his storyline, and I thought the detective was a really good character, and I enjoyed him in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then he became part of that storyline that I thought was just unnecessary because there was so much other stuff going on, especially towards the end. Definitely didn't think that was worthy of him being the very last scene right before it goes to dark, you know.
No.
But I did like him in the character, and I thought he played the character well, and,
Yeah.
and his struggle, you know.
Honestly, at the end, I totally forgot about his character and like his storyline. So even if they didn't wrap up with him, we could have come to our own conclusion about what he was doing, or just like leave the cookie jar by himself. Like, I don't know. That was just a little unnecessary in my opinion.
Yeah, I did not. When Wendy and Marty get home, you see him, you notice the glass is broken. He was not anywhere in my mind. I did not think he was going to be part of that last scene. I was sure it was going to be a cartel something or other.
Yeah. And I think I would have preferred a cartel member.
Yeah.
Because he just wasn't scary to me. He was an annoying person towards the birds.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't fear him at all.
I started liking him more, though. I found him annoying and wanted him to go away and wanted him to leave the birds alone. But the longer it went, and here this is kind of opposite of what I was saying, because I think it was an unnecessary storyline. But him in particular, I kind of got to where I was liking him a little bit more. So,
Okay.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
All right. Favorite character? Let's say, outside of the main characters.
Okay, so Ruth is included in the main characters then, right? Ooh, this is hard.
And back to Rachel coming back.
Yeah.
That surprised. I had to go back and I had to put everything on pause and go back. I recognized her face. I could not remember anything of her story.
Oh, really?
And so was it Tuck? What was the
Tuck? Yeah.
Tuck. I forgot about all of that. I had to stop and research that stuff when they came back because it had been so long I'd forgotten all about it. But anyway. But say a character like that, kind of a secondary-ish character.
Well, I don't know if you would refer to Darlene as a main character, but I really liked her character because she was just so hardcore too.
Yeah.
I just like those powerful women. And I really felt like these last few episodes that we got to experience kind of lacked without her.
Yeah.
Because she was so snarky and like she was obviously mean.
And just evil.
Yeah.
Evil incarnate through her eyes. You expected her to look at somebody and will them dead.
Right?
You know?
Exactly. How about you?
Well, her husband was my favorite, and we haven't seen him in a while, but man, I liked his character as much as I didn't like him because, of course, I wanted Marty to win.
Yeah.
But I thought Jacob, I thought he was really good.
They were both really good together. Like, whoever thought of those two characters, bravo.
What about a spinoff of those two? What about a spinoff, the prequel to the Snell family?
I would like that. I could see that. That would be I think the only one that I would watch, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. Because everybody else is dead except for the cartel, and we have enough cartel shows out there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd watch a Jacob and Darlene prequel.
Maybe a Maya prequel. Maybe.
Maya, the FBI agent?
Maya, the FBI agent.
Okay.
That was the one that I felt like was a little unresolved at the end, too, because she was so close to Marty, and, like, there was no resolution whatsoever. All of a sudden, the, like, last season or whatever, she, like, turns on them, and we really don't get an in-depth reason why.
Yeah, why in the world did she have Omar arrested? Because, maybe it was like the car wreck. Maybe it was just because the show needed something
to twist
flipped
it
upside down.
Yeah, but
we never heard why. I mean, nothing other than she was just trying to do her job, I guess.
Yeah.
But.
So I think I would watch something with her too. I found her character interesting.
Okay. Very good. Well, that's our thoughts. It's one of those, we've said this before, we've done it with other shows. We're just like, we just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so we were finally able to talk about it and wanted to share it with you. If you've got thoughts, we're always open to an email or text message if you want to agree or disagree on Ozark.
Real quick, what would you rate it? Like these final episodes? Were you happy? Because I don't think I ever got an answer.
I think I was just because I'd gotten to the point where I was ready to be done with it.
Oh, okay.
No matter what happened, I was ready to be done with it.
Gotcha.
I would have rather Ruth not been killed, but at the same time, I knew somebody had to be killed, and I get not killing off any of the birds, so who else are you going to go with at that point?
That makes sense.
So.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for Ozark. On to the next show.
On to the next.
If you've got that's the other thing, if you've got a show you would like to recommend, Liz, in between all of her reality shows that she watches, might be able to squeeze in another episode. So you can always call or text 800-455-KCLR. Thanks for searching out Liz and Scotty's Poddy. You can find it wherever you find podcasts, and always, too, at clear99.com.
It's a Clear Country Morning.
Hi, I had a quick question for Liz. I know all moms want a healthy baby no matter what, but do you have your fingers crossed that she comes out like a little redhead like you?
I think everybody has their fingers crossed. It's a little redhead.
My husband and I had a little boy 12 months ago. I'm a darkest brown you can get. He's like a light brown. We have a little firecracker ourselves, and I was shocked.
Really? Oh my gosh. Okay, you're giving me hope then.
He had 12% chance to come out redhead, and he did. It's amazing. He stops everybody in their tracks to talk to them. They're adorable, and they get a lot of attention.
It's a Clear Country Morning.